things that I first thought about when we were making these things was how you described them as being a summary of our failures. And kind of like while having the return and the whole movie part of it, I still feel like there's also like a you part of it. Like this and the movie only gets interpreted through me. That's the only way it can come about in being anything. And so thinking about that and thinking about like summary of my failures, like made me think about my whole reason for taking this class. And
you couldn't find one.
Huh?
You couldn't find one, right? You couldn't find one.
Oh, well, I thought my reason was okay for taking this class, because like I haven't been able to make things, and that was the problem, because like the thinking was getting too much, and if you're thinking too much, you can't make it, and you don't even want to make it. Sometimes I found because it's harder to make when it doesn't mean as much to you, and the only way I found like to give it meaning was to think about this a little more. So like that was a major thing for me, and it was kind of just getting myself to continue with it, and like kind of like reinterpreting these things, but like in a way that was kind of a little more like pace driven and like
liberal interpretations maybe.
Yeah, kind of. But then like that again though, and like all those ideas went back into like the film and the stuff that I had produced for the film. So like I looked at all my old drawings even like from before, but still wanted this to like keep the ideas of being like the house for the kids. And so I got my drawing like this again, the one, and I had converted it to all lines, used all the lines, and then layered another piece of trace on top of it and began to draw on top of it, to like not thinking of it as like a flat thing, but as something that could start to go in 3 dimensions, just drawn in maybe like a planned version of it or a section version of it, and then pulled away those lines and created this thing out of the pieces and the lines that were like made up that drawing. And then the original idea was to take like how this has like this image like layered into it, to also have that here, but with like not just etched into it with like the sticky back, so it actually gives it more like texture and more like depth to it, because I think using plexi when it doesn't have anything on it gets a little like, I could have done this out of anything and probably gotten a better effect, because you would have been able to see depth more clearly. Because like depth was something big to me, and even just creating space, because by making and asking us to make a 3D object, like an object is spatial, even if it's just implied space, you know, like there's always some degree of spatiality to it. So that was like one of the bigger things too that I was thinking about. And didn't get like, it's kind of more flat towards that side, even though this side has, or flat on this side, even though this side does have like some pretty interesting spots, and that's why I wanted it to stand up. But right now I put this piece here kind of as a stand, and also as like the beginning piece to start shaping the back portion a little bit more, because I just didn't have enough time to continue on to this side. But I think it helped, and like for me especially, like not only seeing as like how I can like forget about the original notions I have of like even space or house or film, you know, like I've never watched a movie really the way I watched this movie. And like forgetting about these ideas and even like how I've constructed, like I've never built anything like this, and like kind of forcing myself to continue and like move through it all. Like that's what I've gotten the most from this class. I think it's like helped me in what I came looking for almost.
How is this object performing in your mind, in your view?
Well, when I was creating it, it was like we had like that idea of like a matrix and what a matrix is, and I was trying like not to make it a matrix. I didn't want to have a matrix, and to me the matrices are a little less like I could make a matrix and have it look like any other matrix, you know, like kind of telling you like what distinguishes between this and this. And like, so for me it was more about creating like a kind of like field condition or landscape for this particular drawing, because I didn't want to go all the way back to the film, but rather reinterpret the drawing as my step.
Do you think it still carries the modality of the movie?
I think it would if I was able to have more time to put the images and the like depth of it with like pictures and even like the lines, like kind of give it more depth and more more content. Yeah, like tell more of the history, you know, because this really alone isn't telling much of a history.
I have a question. What happened to the text you were talking about? Your whole thing
Well, it was
being based off text.
Time. Like I was gonna cut out pieces of text, you know, that could like build to be doing this, what like this piece is doing, but really it could have been like Kara was saying, you know, maybe it becomes too much about text, and also it takes time, like to figure out all those things, and like working on the computer and trying to laser cut them. There's just like not enough time. Text was another like idea about like things that would be on this, but they couldn't be in the way I was originally planning because it was just too time
Could
intensive.
still text come maybe on sticky back?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, or like even transferring it on there, or having pieces of the plexi that could actually be just like
I will
text
still
etched
go
onto
for
it.
some motion of text in the construct.
Yeah.
May help for the narrative content.
I think so too, and especially because like it was for me part like retrospection on the movie part and part retrospection on the whole class.
Okay.
That like the readings here and in theory
Some
kind of.
conceptual statements plus some scripts from the movie, etc. Okay, this is nice. This is nice.